This is the Checkpoints, hosted and co-authored by Elena Kvanchilashvili and myself. I'm Georgios Sakadze. This is Forbes Studio, where we go live for you weekly on business and economics.
The Checkpoints team is working hard to meet you every Sunday, 10 p.m. sharp. Hopefully we will get the chance to travel relatively soon, Georgi, and this also relates to your exclusive that our viewers and followers will be able to watch after the Checkpoints ends. But before that, 29,250 doses of Pfizer vaccine arrived in Georgia early this week. Georgia received the Pfizer vaccine from the United States. What we know right now is that together with the medical staff, all persons authorized by the Coordination Council will be vaccinated. In particular, vaccination options are already also available for people over the age of 65, along with medical staff who will be able to choose between AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines. And finally, we see that the pace has picked up, and I do hope that this wave of vaccination will become an icebreaker for this, the most important process today.
Yes, and we're working on some ideas of how to motivate people to be more involved in this process. For Georgia, Health is very active in this direction, and probably soon we will have a very intensive campaign going that we will definitely share with our viewers and followers. But meanwhile, have you ever been to Greece?
Unfortunately, not yet, Georgi, but I know where you are leading.
Yes, yes, and you should. And,
yes.
By the way, happy Independence.
Exactly, exactly. Greece has celebrated 200 years of independence just on Thursday this week. This is the country that hosts the largest Georgian diaspora and the country that has learned a lot in terms of economic development. It underwent one of the strictest tightening of belts, and this experience is, of course, interesting to Georgia.
Yes, and it's time for Ambassadorial. In the Checkpoints, our reporter Tamta Jijavadze talks to the Ambassador of Greece to Georgia. It's Dimitrios Karabalis.
And we will get the answers about those spaces where Georgian and Greek businesses or economies can elaborate joint efforts and what challenges Greece sees in Georgia's investment climate. Meet Dimitrios Karabalis.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you for your time and for this opportunity. My first question will be about Greek independence of Greece. So you recently celebrated 200 years of independence. So what has your country learned during this period of time in terms of economic development?
First of all, at the beginning, the Greek state, the independent Greek state, relied a lot on foreign aid and loans.
As Georgia now.
Well, the only thing I can say is that it was proven over the 200 years, even very recently, that this can be the recipe for disaster, economic disaster and political disaster for a nation. Second is that we were very late to proceed with agrarian reform. And finally, we realized that a healthy, modernized agricultural sector for countries like mine has been essential for the development. And it went in parallel with the first attempts for industrialization at the beginning of the 19th century. Third is that we have found out through our history something that always is not evident, that we must strike always a balance between a very strict and rigorous protection of labor rights and social rights with development. Social policies, labor legislation and investments, development are not incompatible. The fourth point is that white-collar corruption is really poisoning the healthy development of the economy and the foundations of a modern state. Then we believe, we found out the hard way that we should always try and diversify our economy. Too much reliance on one sector of the economy, in the long run, will be detrimental for the sector and for the economy as a whole when a crisis hits. Example, tourism. We have made many mistakes. I hope that Georgia will avoid them. Because at one moment, too much exploitation of the natural resources, of the beauties, of the physical beauty, has turned against us. Because we have ruined what was the real attraction for the foreigner who is visiting our country. So we had to go back and start almost from the beginning. Then we found out that we should try and follow our needs, the national needs. We should not try to enter in adventures that go beyond our capabilities. For example, when we made the experiment of heavy industry, finally we realized that we could only stick to some of those sectors, but we cannot industrialize such a country like Greece overnight. And last but not least, and which is an advice to all our governments since the very beginning, that do not waste the public money for your re-election.
I would like to ask about circular migration program.
Yes.
So we have launched this kind of program with Germany. And a few months ago, our Ministry of Health stated that they are also in negotiation with Greece and Cyprus about such kind of program. So what do we know about these negotiations?
I have met, I was invited, and I have met Deputy Minister Bakalaya, and she explained to me that we can, she had, let's say, a comprehensive plan that she presented, how we can go forward, and along the lines of the German agreement between Germany and Georgia, which does not take the form of a formal agreement, bilateral agreement, because this takes a long time and it has to go to parliaments, but it is going to be like something like a memorandum of cooperation, same terms like the one signed with Germany. And now I know that they are in direct contact, my authorities and the ministry here, and we are looking very seriously in that, because we have needs in seasonal workers, and we're very well acquainted with the Georgians, and it would be very good if at the end, because there are many factors introduced, salaries, how attractive they are, and insurance and everything. So I really do hope that we will come up to also a package, and we can proceed with that in 2021.
So do you see any other spaces where Georgian and Greek economies or businesses could elaborate joint efforts, for example, some joint ventures or something like that?
Okay, in titles, if you like, in chapters where we have found potential for joint ventures, is first of all the modernization of the agricultural sector. We see here that because the Georgian agricultural sector was not modernized quickly enough, a large part of it has changed hands. We are not talking about this. We don't want to come and buy. We just want to help the Georgian farmer to be able to produce high quality products and be able to export them. Then energy efficiency and environmental protection, which is a big chapter, a big issue. Many buildings and factories date from the Soviet period, so that poses a lot of questions, because the issue is not only to apply those norms in new buildings, given in the big cities where almost half of the population lives, how to apply those norms and change, to the extent possible, existing buildings to be energy efficient. Then there is in research and development, especially again in ecosystems and the production of innovative systems and services that can be directed to the global market, get out only of the bilateral level, but expand. We believe that you have the potential, you have a lot of well-educated young people, and there is really the possibility to do something together there. And another chapter that we have not developed yet is tourism. We think that we can share our experience with you, and not only to avoid our mistakes, but really...
But mistakes are also really important for yeah, sharing experience, yeah.
But in order to help Georgia develop sustainable, ecological friendly, if you like, tourism, because the meaning of the exercise is not to bring a tourist here today, is to make him come again and again and again.
So I'm asking this question to all my ambassador respondents. How would you assess Georgian business and investment environment? So what we are missing?
Well, this is a question that I understand that is politically sensitive. So I will try to avoid to give you either my personal or strictly national position, but I will try to answer you based on the OECD investment policy review of this year and the EU annual association implementation report. So the first thing, and I will come again and again afterwards, is the question of DCFTA and the need for Georgia to complete all reforms in all policy areas included in the DCFTA in order to achieve first what we call the level playing field, and second, to improve the overall investment climate. I don't think that I have to linger more on what we mean, because I am sure you understand the term, you know the term, level playing field, and you have heard many other ambassadors mentioning the same. Now, there are obstacles, and Georgia is doing an effort, a real effort, to remove those obstacles. But up to now, there are some areas where more should be done. For example, the regulatory framework for public procurement, competition and public procurement, the institutional infrastructure that supports alternative dispute resolution services, the procedures under which foreign companies can invest in the agricultural sector, because you want to protect your own sector, your own farmers, but you want to go to modernization, as I said before. The intellectual rights protection is important. And last but not least, is to complete the systemic judicial reform in order for the foreign investors to have confidence in the court system.
We are BMG. Follow and subscribe for business and economics news.